Hey y'all, welcome back to Falling in Love with Hope K. But today's video is about perfection, the illusion of perfection, and there's just so many things that I can say about this, so I'm just going to jump right in. So I feel that I have struggled with the illusion of perfection or the pursuit of the perfection pretty much my whole life. So ever since I was a little kid, I was somebody who did pretty well in school, usually well behaved, all the things. And people will always give me the, oh, you think you're better than everyone rhetoric, yada, 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 yada. And it also created a need in me to feel like I had to be perfect. So while everyone else is seeing someone who they're like, oh, she thinks she's better than everybody because she does this, she does that. Oh, you think you're better than me because I get good grades, blah, 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 blah. I am living under immense pressure put on me by my parents, my school, my peers, and myself. So a lot of times when you see people who you feel like are striving or successful, people just want to be envious, be jealous, have any reason to hate on the person when you really don't actually understand the amount of pressure that people are under. And for years, I just lived under the weight of that pressure, and it was exhausting trying to feel like I had to do everything right. I had to say the right thing. And I'm also a Christian, so that comes with different expectations that I just really didn't know how to manage. And in living under that expectation of perfection and having all those different standards, I also didn't know how to fail, and I didn't know how to allow myself to be human. And I know that that is something that a lot of people struggle with as well, so that's why I wanted to talk about it. And I just want to encourage anybody as much as I can to free yourself from the expectation of being perfect, regardless of what pressures other people are putting on you. And sometimes these are actual pressures, and sometimes it's perceived pressures. So when you get certain responses from people, you can perceive that, oh goodness, now this is something they're expecting me to do. And if you watch the Simone Biles documentary, she talked about just the pressure of being so successful at a young age that people are constantly asking, what's next, what's next, what's next. And once you feel like you have reached your highest goal, answering the question of what's next is really difficult because you're constantly trying to outdo yourself. As far as school, if I already got a 4.0, what's next? I went to college, what's next? I got a master's, what's next? People asking, when you getting a doctorate, when you doing this, when you getting married, when you having kids. People with kids, they say after you have your first kid, then somebody say, when you having your second kid, when are you doing this, when are you doing that? And it's just, it can drive you crazy being under such pressure. And when you are blessed to do things in excellence, I don't think people understand how much work and how much stress goes into doing things excellently. So the parents we see out here, and we feel like they're doing such a good job with their kids, and we feel like we see their kids, oh, they're so well behaved, this family is perfect, right? But we don't see the behind the scenes of all the challenges that they go through to get to whatever goal they have set for their family. Same thing with education. One of my friends is in medical school, and sometimes, I talk to her and just get a view of what it's even like to pursue such a rigorous goal. And you see so many people who I don't think understand how hard it is to do something like this. And it's hard once you do start to do things excellently, because then you don't really feel like you can give yourself grace to fall back. Once you feel like you've reached your pinnacle, sometimes you don't even feel like you can sit back and enjoy the fruits of your labor, because there's all these spoken or unspoken expectations for you to do something else, when really I actually don't want to do anything else, right? I have reached my goal. Right now, where I am is my perfection. But you keep getting these pressures to keep doing more and keep doing more. And when I thought about the topic of perfection, I thought about a relationship that I was in my earlier 20s. And I had told the guy that I was dating, like, I feel like you're expecting me to be perfect. And I'm, on paper, I'm pretty much the expectation, which is difficult, right? I do the stereotypical things that good people do, blah, 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 but I'm not perfect. So if I do have a moment, or in that relationship, when I had a moment of imperfection, or even when I expressed doubts or insecurities or fears pertaining to the relationship, it was met with all kinds of just ridiculous judgments, and my words getting twisted all the time. And I'm just like, bro, you can say this, you can do this, you can feel like this, but the minute I have a feeling that's not a good feeling, now I'm just the worst person in the world. And I have experienced that in various aspects in family relationships, friendships, where people are expecting you. If they say check on your strong friends, if you're always the happy friend, if you're always the friend who has some money, if you're always the friend who has a move, if you're always the friend who's succeeding in something, when you have a bad day, people don't usually give you the grace to be human. And it's just like, dang, I know I usually always got some money, but today I'm broke. And you start to get that resentment because you are holding yourself to this standard. Other people don't see the weight of this standard. Then it starts to feel like, dang, I do all this stuff for other people and no one does anything for me. Or I'm always in this mood, but everyone else is allowed to feel this. Everyone's allowed to feel that. I'm in ministry and I'm struggling with something. But because people look at me as perfect, I don't feel like I can go to somebody and confide in somebody about what I'm struggling with. And that can be very, very dangerous, because I'm just, I'll be in the comment sections, y'all. So y'all might see me. But it's a post just talking about how we have to stop letting people just, get in pulpits and have platforms in our churches who we know are wrestling and struggling with certain things. And one of the comments that I put on there was, I agree with this, because a lot of times we don't give people in leadership positions in the church opportunities to step down and heal and hold them accountable, because we're benefiting from their gifts. So whether it's a singer, a preacher, a musician, a devout volunteer, we don't want them to step down, because then we're going to have to fill their position. And when we don't hold people accountable, or we don't recognize people's humanities and interventions that they may need when they're struggling, we keep taking and taking and taking and taking and taking from them without seeing them and seeing, this person is not perfect. This person is not a robot. This person is hurting. This person is struggling. This person is backsliding. And we just keep going on like nothing is happening, because we don't want to stop reaping the benefits of what they're offering us. And in these relationships where we have people who are expecting us to be perfect, we don't hold space for them to be angry. We don't hold space for them to be sad. We don't hold space for them to fail, because we get satisfaction and we reap the benefits of them keep pushing themselves, even if they really need to stop. Whether it's we in a relationship with a guy who's depressed, he hates his job, he's not fulfilled, he wants to follow his dreams or what God is calling him to do, but we're in a relationship with him, we like the money that he's making, so we ignore those things. We see those things, we see how it's impacting him, we see how it's hurting him, but if he decides to change and do what God is calling him to do, or do the things that he's passionate about, that may mean less money for us to do what we want to do with it, right? Or if we have a friend, this is our friend that's always happy, our friend that's always down to go out, our friend that's always the life of the party. If we hold space for her to be sad and upset, then we can't ride on her energy, right? We can't ride on her connections, because we know the people who usually the life of the party type, they got all the connections, they got all the moves. So when she's expressing sadness or she's not feeling her best self, People write it off because, look, girl, don't nobody got time for you to be sad. We need your energy so we can turn it and we can have fun. We not friends with you because we want you to be sad and we there for you. We friends with you because we want this energy that you have and the things that comes connected with it. If you have a kid who's very good in school, you see your kid struggling in school, you don't necessarily think, okay, what's going on with my kid that they're struggling in this way? And I see, no shade to the parents, but I see a lot of parents get this wrong, where we fussing and cussing at our kids. You can do better than that. Why do you get a grade like this? Da 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 da. And being somebody who has highly achieved in school, if I'm struggling in a class, that either means the class is very, very, very challenging, or I'm not mentally in a good space. So I know for me personally, when I'm not motivated to read, when I'm not motivated to write, when I'm not motivated to do my assignments, there's something going on internally that is just causing a mental block. But because we have these expectations, we don't even think, oh, wait, what could this person possibly be going through? And we wait until somebody has some crazy breakdown or snap or do something completely out of character before we realize and recognize them as a human being. And sometimes that means holding space. Sometimes that means holding them accountable. Sometimes it means calling them out on their stuff. As someone who people has looked at in a specific or particular way, I feel like there were a lot of times when people didn't call me out on my stuff. And it's just like, I can't grow if you don't treat me how you treat other people. If I'm doing something that's wrong and you don't say anything, you're robbing me of an opportunity to be better. And we have to make sure we treat people that way, regardless of what status that they have. And I think that goes for people in the church, right? Because we have these pastors and these preachers and these teachers, and maybe they're really respected or they're really popular, or we feel like they know so much more than us. But if they say something wrong, if they misquote a scripture, if they're treating people poorly, it's that idea or that like that bystander effect. Well, I don't want to say nothing because no, hold everybody accountable so that everybody can grow. Don't just assume that everybody is perfect, everybody has it together. And it's usually an extreme end of the spectrum. Either nobody says nothing to you because they think that you have it all together, or people over scrutinize and put ridiculous expectations on you because they expecting that you can handle all this. And I've had, situations where I definitely snapped. Like I went off and everybody like, and it's just like, I've been trying to tell you this. I've been trying to tell you this. I've been trying to show you this. I've been trying to communicate that this is too much. This is too much. And it's not until somebody go crazy that people start to notice, like, maybe this is too much. Maybe my expectations are too much. Maybe I'm being unfair to this person. And if you're watching this and you don't understand, it may not be an issue that you have. But I know a lot of people can relate to, like, dang, sometimes I just want to be a person. Sometimes I just want to be a human. Sometimes I just want to be okay with where I'm at. And sometimes I don't want to be striving for the next thing. I don't want to feel like what I have is not enough. So if you are struggling with enjoying where you are, I would challenge you to look at the expectations that you're putting on yourself. If you're a Christian and you're not enjoying your walk with the Lord, check the expectations that you're putting on yourself. Yes, I want to follow the ways of the Bible. I want to live a holy and righteous lifestyle. But am I not being realistic that I'm a human that's going to make mistakes? Am I denying myself accountability and discipleship because I feel like I should have it all together? If you're a parent, if you're a spouse, if you're a leader on your job, you're not going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. Give yourself space to be human. If you are a spouse and you didn't respond well to something that your spouse did or said, okay, go and fix it. You a parent, you snapped at your kid, go and fix it. You at work and you make a mistake, go and fix it. Admitting your humanity is the best way to give yourself relief and give yourself an opportunity to grow. And if no one has told you already, you do not have to try to live up to the expectations of other people. Live up to the expectations that you have for yourself. Live up to the expectations that God has for you. Lean into the accountability that you have, the friends you have, and filter out the outside noise as much as possible. And when you feel like people that you're in relationship is not hearing you, keep advocating for yourself. That's something that I wish I would have done sooner, is setting boundaries and advocating for myself and just saying, hey, if I'm not doing something, it's because I can't do it. I can't do it. I need help. I can't do it. I'm not perfect. I'm a human. I cannot do what you are asking me to do. And sometimes you know why you can't do it, and sometimes you don't know. Sometimes, like I said, you need somebody discipling you. You need some kind of counseling. You need a friend. You need somebody to hold space for you, because you don't always know what's wrong, but you know something is wrong. So for the perfectionist, for the person who puts themselves under extreme pressure, learn how to stop and identify, what can I do? What can't I do? And when do I need to go ask for help?